They're either
I
agreeing
know,
with me
but
or
you're
not.
still wrong, and that's the problem.
I disagree with you.
Do you want to be right, or do you want to keep speaking into a hug box where people agree with you, and
Prove to
then
me I'm wrong.
well,
So here's the thing, guys. It's really funny that Hasan said that, because Hasan literally speaks into a hug box where everyone agrees. I criticized Hasan in a video on my channel a few videos ago, and the whole hug box came out and all started ad hominem attacking me. They're all like, oh, you dislike women. Oh, you're such a loser. Oh, you can't get laid. Oh, okay, cool. Not a single one of these people were attacking my argument. They're all attacking my character, which is called an ad hominem attack. But more. Like, it's really funny that he would say this, because that's what he does. So, irony of the century. Okay, let's continue.
if you just completely devalue empirical evidence, actuarial sciences, the entirety of the insurance industry that relies on making these sorts of calculations.
Right. So Hasan is talking about real statistics, which is that female, like women, they get into less accidents than men. They just do. That's how it goes. And so they have lower insurance rates, etc. But again, like, I'm sure the reason why men get into more accidents than women is because the drivers, right, includes 16 to 20 or 16 to 25-year-old men whose brains aren't fully developed, so they have far less impulse control, and so they drive much more recklessly, right? And so if you take that piece of the male population out, I'm sure that the statistics would change dramatically. But of course, they're including the most reckless portion of the male population in those statistics. So of course, I think those men would skew the results. That would be my guess as to why these statistics are true. And we also know that men are greater risk takers as well. So there's that as well. So this isn't wrong, right? It's just, again, Andrew and Hasan in this debate are arguing cross purposes. Hasan is saying that women are better drivers because they're safer, and Andrew is not talking about safe driving. He's talking about, well, he is talking about safe driving, I guess, because he says in his own personal experience, women get into more car accidents than men. But again, you can't use anecdotes to generalize the population. That's actually what women do.
To ensure that these quotes are as profitable as possible, which ends up charging men higher rates than women, as a statistical likelihood that men are more dangerous drivers than women across the board and get into more car accidents across the board.
Right, but dangerous doesn't necessarily mean worse. It just means more risk-taking, right? But in order to win like a race, for example, you have to be greater risk. You have to be more risk-taking. In order to compete as a driver, you have to be more risk-taking. So again, at like skill level, right? Skill level wise, men outdo women. But also risk-taking wise, men outdo women. And of course, risks have potentially fatal consequences if you're driving a car, right? So it goes. Okay, let's see. Let's continue.
If you're going to look at all of that and say it doesn't matter because that does not correspond to my own personal experiences.
Oh, by the way, again, I've made this argument in the last video as well, but let's continue it here. So the idea is the following: the chat, right? If you're reading the chat, and you're listening to what Hasan says, it's just, empirical, scientific, backed by data, backed by analysis. We can't trust our anecdotal experiences. It has to be facts, data, and statistics, right? And they can apply that to driving and draw a conclusion that's flattering about women, right? They can do that. But when it comes to women, suddenly we can't use facts, data, and statistics. No. We have to use our own anecdotal experience, right? We have to use everybody's a special snowflake. We have to use everybody's different. We have to use, there's no generalizable behaviors. We have to use, do you see what I'm saying, guys? Do you see how these two belief sets are incompatible, and yet they're possessed by Hasan and a lot of his viewers? Do you see that? There's a reason why These men have been purposely brainwashed to fit the feminine imperative. They've been purposely brainwashed so that the women can go fuck Chad when they're younger, and then when they're older and they're unattractive, they can be then saved from their bad decisions. Because women are sugar spice and everything nice. She was just doing her healing, la 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 la, bullshit. As you know. Alright, let's continue.
Then you're silly. You're being silly. You're being a silly person. If everyone thought like you did, right, we would have no scientific achievements on this planet. We would still be living inside of fucking caves. As much as I love Liver King personally, I don't think that that would be a good planet to live on. I'm pretty happy for, I don't know, all the medical achievements, all the scientific achievements that we have reached. And at the heart of all of that, all of those accomplishments lies an understanding of arriving at the truth through...
I agree entirely. Thank you, Hasan, for making my exact point for me. Thank you, Hasan. I believe in the truth. I believe you guys should know the truth, which is that women are not sugar spice and everything nice. You can't be nice to get girls. You can't take them on $200 dinners. You can't just give away your attention, validation, commitment, and all of that at the beginning of the relationship. You can't just be doing that. Just be nice, bro, is terrible advice for a person that purports to say that they believe in facts, data, and statistics. And that, like, again, Hasan has such a beautiful scientific mind. It's kind of embarrassing that he couldn't apply it to the dynamic between the sexes. It's kind of embarrassing to see that he has such good logic and such good arguing ability and such skill. And yet, he can't make the connection that what he currently believes about the way that men and women work in the world is just not how it is. It's simply not the truth. It's like the world does not run the way that Hasan believes that it runs. And that's why Hasan isn't currently dating. Actually, there's a rumor that Hasan dated previously. I'll show you later in the episode who Hasan dated previously, and it'll show you a little bit about how clueless he is about, the relation between the men and women. You'll understand exactly what I'm talking about in a few minutes. Okay, just stay tuned. We're gonna do a little Rollo Tomasi article, and then we're gonna go back to this a bit, and then I'll tell you exactly who Hasan is rumored to have been dating. Okay, well, two girls technically, and you'll see that both of them are. Let's just say it doesn't reflect well on Hasan's choices in the relationship marketplace, and let's just say that might reflect a lack of understanding of how the way a lack of fundamental understanding about how the world really works. And it's hilarious that he believes in the truth and yet is unwilling to believe that. Although, again, if a guy is capable of making $1.5 to $3.5 million online, right? He's probably smart enough to know the way the world really works, and he just understands that he loses his viewer base if he says what he truly believes. So he could just be brainwashing his audience on purpose for money, in which case, I can respect it. All right, let's continue. Even though it's terrible for society and for men in general.
Empirical evidence.
You done?
Yeah.
Cool. In my personal experiences,
Here
all
we
the
go.
car crashes I've been involved in, all the times my car was hit, and all the negative experience I've had on the road, women were at fault. That is, now you can sit here and say the insurance claims say that. I never said the insurance claims don't say that. I'm saying that I am not comfortable with women driving because of my personal experience. Those are my personal experiences. You can drag up all the empirical evidence in the world you want to try and drag up. Anyone with a brain knows how that aids the world agendas anyway. I don't want to go too political on a stream that's going to get taken down. So I'm not saying that I can't find a female race car driver. I'm not saying that.
That's not what I'm saying either. I'm not talking about like statistical anomalies. I'm straight up talking about the overwhelming amount of evidence that suggests that women are more careful drivers than men. Okay?
Okay, yeah. Statistically, overall, I agree. I can't argue with the data, with what the data says, and I believe it. Men take more risks. From the age of 16 to 25, men are very, very risk-taking. I mean, they have an undeveloped frontal lobe. So yeah, it stands to reason that women would get into less car accidents and take less risks than men. I'm not disagreeing with this. I agree with this entirely. What I disagree with is the fact that Hasan can have such beautiful logic and understanding of the way the world works, and then also still lie to his viewers about how women really work. How he can simultaneously hold the truth, the beautiful scientific analysis of reality using facts, data, and statistics. How he can hold that and simultaneously not understand that using the same facts, data, and statistics, you can demonstrably prove that women are not behaving according to the old set of rules. And they're also not behaving according to what they say they want as well. That's also true. So these girls say they want a nice guy. They want a guy who's emotionally supportive. They want a guy who's just the best guy in the world. They want a guy to take care of them. They want a guy to la la la. And then they go sleep with Chad at the foam cannon party, right, in Cancun. They go cheat on their lovely, stable boyfriend with Brad. Like, Hasan, explain to me how you can have this beautiful, logical understanding of the world and still not get how girls work. Explain that one to me. Explain how you can have this beautiful scientific understanding of the world backed by facts, data, and statistics, and yet you have social anxiety, which stems from, I'll bet, a lot of rejection. And I'll bet the reason why the rejection happens is because you're trying to be a nice guy when the girls expect you to be Chad. Anyway.
And therefore better drivers than men. You keep resorting back to your personal anecdotes. So let me walk you through this, right?
Brother,
do you agree that human beings have biases?
Do me a favor.
Okay. But hey, I respected your time. Do you want to answer my question? Do you believe that human beings have biases?
Oh, absolutely. We're all biased.
Okay.
Completely.
Do you think that those biases might cloud your judgment?
It's not about clouding judgment.
Not just your personal not just your own personal judgment. Do you think our biases might cloud our personal judgment?
I think every single person on earth is biased and lives within a biased reality.
Absolutely. That's absolutely true. If you agree with me on both of those accounts, you understand that your anecdotes, your own personal accumulation of information, is going to be clouded by your own personal biases. So
again, this is why I didn't trust my own personal experiences and why I went to the collective kind of grassroots information about the true way that the world works with regards to male-female dynamics. It's the reason why I studied the subject. It's the reason why I read about it from multiple different perspectives. It's because my own personal experiences did not reflect I had the realization that my own personal experiences clearly did not reflect reality, because I wasn't getting out of reality what I wanted, right? So again, it's amazing to me that Hasan could just absolutely destroy. Like, guys, I'm gonna be honest. Andrew's getting destroyed here. Like, Andrew's losing to Hasan. But what's funny is that in the same breath, if you look at other videos that Hasan has made, he gives men advice like just be nice. He gives men advice like, like being a nice guy is good, and etc. And that like basically things that amount to women are special snowflakes. Like, this sort of thing doesn't lend itself to a man that has this level of rational abilities, and it's kind of embarrassing. Anyway, you know what I'm gonna do, guys? I'm gonna watch a bit more of Hasan's content, and I'm going to find more of the advice he gives about women, and we're going to compile it in a better way, so I can have more points to give you than just than what he says about just be nice, bro. I'll give you more, okay? Just give me a bit more time. It takes a while for me to make these videos, so but I'll research a little bit better so I can give you more things that Hasan has said, okay? Just give me enough time to watch more of his videos, all right? All right, cool. Let's continue.
You're not going to be able to assess the information adequately in the same way that empirical evidence would.
Agreed.
This is precisely why we look at data.
This is why you use, evolutionary psychology from men like God Saad, etc. Because, and also, The Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins, etc. This is why. Because you can't trust. I mean, I know The Selfish Gene is not a scientific study. It's a book written by Richard Dawkins. But anyway, look it up. Look it up. It's about evolutionary biology related to reproduction and how both men and women. I mean, it doesn't just talk about humans. It talks about multiple different species. But the idea is that the point is reproduction, right? So all of these strategies are just used in order to ensure the best possible outcomes for your genes. So the girl's strategy, the matriarchy, the gynocentric social order that we live in, what it aims to do is to maximize women's fertility effectively, right? They maximize their genes by sleeping with Chad, and they maximize the raising of those genes by a beta Billy coming along and taking care of the child, etc. Okay, anyway, let's talk about this here, okay? So, personal life of HasanAbi, okay? He once dated actress Janice Griffith. I like that it says actress. Great job. So if you guys don't know, Janice Griffith is a spicy content actress. Let's put it that way, okay? So again, we all know how it goes. If a person is willing to date spicy content creators, probably they're missing some stuff about fundamental male-female dynamics, right? They probably think that that's an okay thing to do. Right? And I mean, sure, you can do it, but the likelihood of your children being yours is greatly reduced. So, I mean, there's that. And then he's also supposedly dated this Pokimane streamer. But again, what do we say about girl Twitch streamers? I mean, they're attention seekers, right? So he's dating girls that are attention seekers. So what does that say? I mean, if you're dating girls that are attention seekers, what's the takeaway here? You're dating girls that are seeking the attention of multiple men, which means that you're likely to get the girls stolen from you. And if you're likely to get the girls stolen from you, the implication is that your children are less likely to be yours. So Hasan doesn't understand fundamentally evolutionary biology or evolutionary psychology. Because if he did, he would understand that getting with girls that are like that is bound to have some negative results on your future, right? So it's amazing to me that he could be such a good, logical communicator while also simultaneously making these decisions and telling his audience what he tells them. You see what I'm saying? He's a clearly brainwashed member of the gynocentric social order. So it goes. All right, let's see what else he's got here. Oh, did I say I was going to read an article by Rollo as well? All right, here's the cardinal rule of relationships. This is from The Rational Male. In any relationship, the person with the most power is the one who needs the other the least. So here's the thing. Hasan's teachings. Hasan, when he says just be nice, do nice things for girls, etc., that sort of attitude, right? That sort of belief set. And believing that like believe all women, and all that kind of stuff. When a guy says stuff like that, when he believes stuff like that, what it implies is that he sees himself as below women. He sees women's priorities as above his, which means that he needs women more than they need him, because he's putting women on a pedestal by putting these, by giving them such power, right? And so, because women need him less than he needs them, women consider themselves to be higher status than him. And because women are hypergamous, they want a man who's superior to themselves, they'll quickly learn that Hasan is, a loser, basically. and they leave him, which would explain why he's single. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Hasan understands exactly all of this. He's just, sleeping around and lying to his audience, right? So he's, cynically playing the system for his advantage. And if he's doing that, well, then Hasan is a sociopath, right? And if that's the case, then, I can respect it. Some of the most successful men in the world have dark triad traits. That would just imply that Hasan has dark triad traits, because he's either a useful idiot, and that's why he's single, or he's not a useful idiot. He's, banging like a rock star and lying to his audience for money, which, is, to be honest, probably more likely. All right. Again, the reason I'm saying this is because I actually respect Hasan's intelligence. So, because I respect his intelligence, I respect the fact that he's able to lie for money, right? Like a politician.
Rather than make arguments around our... Wait, let me finish. Come on.
I understand what you're saying.
This is precisely why we do that.
We've went over the same point like 5 times here.
Everyone's saying kick you. You're long-winded the point. You're saying that the empirical evidence is saying X, so it doesn't matter what my personal experience is. That's fine. My point is, let me change it. Let's say that the empirical evidence says that a pit bull is more likely to bite you than a Dalmatian. But in your life experience, every time you went near a Dalmatian, it bit you, and a pit bull never did. Are you going to go up to a Dalmatian still completely and go, oh, it's fine, completely unbiased because the empirical evidence says X when you're covered in scars? No. You're going to say, Dalmatians bite me for some reason, and I'm not comfortable around Dalmatians. That's called human nature. Okay. So I'm telling you my personal experiences, and I don't care. I understand your point. Empirical evidence says X. Women in this country can do X. I completely get that. Secondly, it's also country because you're only talking about America because you're American and you don't see outside of the world. That's fine.
I'm Turkish, actually. I grew up in Turkey.
That's not the point. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is I'm uncomfortable with a woman driving. And if you actually ask most women, if it gets late at night or it starts getting dark or it starts raining heavily or the parking gets difficult, they usually ask the man to drive themselves. I know many women who do that. They're not offended by my assumption. I know loads of women who go, oh, I don't want to park. You park it. Loads. There's not a bad thing about it. Who gives a shit, right? It's not even a big deal. You've come on here deciding you really want to stick up for the chicks and maybe, one of them will drive over to your house. It's cool. We've got better things to talk about.
Look, let's be real. I don't think I need to be a male feminist to be able to attract women, okay? However, having said that...
So Andrew has gone after Hasan the same way that I did, right? Where he said, you're being a guy who supports women for the purpose of getting laid. Cuddlefish game, right? Which I actually talked about in my last video. And Hasan is saying he doesn't need to be a male feminist in order to attract women. That's actually true. He doesn't. In fact, I would say Hasan is attractive despite his beliefs. But the problem is this. The problem is that by advertising, by broadcasting your womanist beliefs, you're actually destroying your audience. And for yourself, it's probably fine. You'll still get laid. You'll still be okay. You'll have a great life. But your audience gets destroyed. So... And basically, you contribute to the destruction of the lives of your audience, right? So,
having said that, that was a funny implication. Having said that, you are failing to recognize what I am trying to say. I walked you through these steps slowly but surely. The thing is, the Dalmatian example that you gave is great because you are creating now a hypothetical scenario in which you want your opponent to concede. I can do the exact same thing and say, well, in my personal experience, Dalmatians never bite, or pit bulls never bite, whichever one you thought was the more aggressive breed, right? In my personal experience, what if in a million times that I have bred pit bulls or been around pit bulls, not a single one of them has ever been aggressive? We will never be able to arrive at a meaningful solution or a resolution to this conversation if we're both operating on personal anecdotes and hypotheticals. That is not how you can conduct an appropriate debate.
Good. So now you're saying the thing I just said. I have my own biases, my personal experiences, and I say them. Some people disagree and some people agree, and I don't care. You now come along.
But you're still wrong, though, because I'm not operating on biases when I talk about women driving. I'm talking about the empirical evidence. I might have personally thought women are worse at driving than men as well. But once you arrive at, once you look at the evidence.
Yeah, again, Hasan has won this debate, like, very clearly. I agree entirely. Like, Hasan has won the debate. And as I said, I believe that Hasan is an intelligent man. I believe that he's capable of logical, rational conclusions and observation. And it's because I believe and I respect his intelligence that I can't understand why he lies actively to his audience about the truth. And the truth is that female nature is not what you're taught growing up. The truth is that if you act according to the teachings that you're taught growing up about female nature, you end up alone, you end up miserable, and you end up without the results that you actually want. And what I can't understand is why Hasan actively contributes to the worsening of the lives of the people that watch his channel. He has such a platform, he has such a mind, he has such rational abilities, and yet he chooses actively, because I know that Hasan is smart enough to be able to come to the conclusions of the truth of the real nature of not only women but men as well. I have trouble understanding. Well, again, I don't have trouble understanding. I do understand. I'm saddened. I'm more disappointed than anything that Hasan would actively choose to lie to his audience in order to make money for himself. The attitude is inherently selfish. He's choosing actively to destroy the lives of his watchers in the long term for his own personal gain. And he might not even see it that way. He might see it as, I'm just telling the audience what they want to hear and I make money off it. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that is that the reason, like society is going down, and it's not because of Hasan, but Hasan is contributing. It's going down because people are not telling the truth. People are saying pretty lies, and these pretty lies lead to the destruction of men everywhere. And not only men, women too. Because not operating in reality destroys lives. So Hasan, while making this beautiful argued debate and destroying Tate in this argument, that man who's capable of that level of logic is also capable of straight up lying and brainwashing his audience. And that I cannot abide. And we're going to end the episode there. Again, guys, if you're new to the channel, liking the content, please hit the sub, hit all for notifications. If you'd like to support me, I do have a Patreon with exclusive content. It's patreon.com/theheliosblog. Just subscribe to any tier. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my videos, especially if you got all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. And again, guys, you're awesome. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Please remember to do all of the following. Like the video for the algorithm. Comment on the video. I respond to all comments and I'll give you a heart. Subscribe and hit the bell so you can see my content on your feed. Check out all of my content on other platforms. It spreads the reach of the channel. YouTube, bit.ly/HeliosYouTube. Rumble, bit.ly/HeliosRumble. My blog is realheliosblog.com. My podcast, bit.ly/HeliosPodcast. My Patreon, patreon.com/theheliosblog. You can also support the show at bit.ly/HeliosDonations and buy my books at bit.ly/HeliosBooks. Thank you so much for all of your support.